Hello viewers, welcome to our lecture series on Indian ethos in management. This is going to be part 2 of our lectures on towards a new social vision. In the first very lecture of mine, I told you about the new social vision, what is there into it and what are the three different colors which signify the different aspects of this new social vision. And we also discussed about how to operationalize that GRS vision, and when we talk about transcendental management in action, the way we have to proceed, we have already discussed. I'll be giving you a brief recap of what we have discussed, and then we shall go ahead with new social vision and ethical foundations of organizations, the way we have to move towards GRS model of business ethics. So, this is what is the agenda of my today's lecture of this topic, that is towards a new social vision. And there we discussed what the world needs actually. At the present time, the requirement of the entire universe or the entire world is that we have adopted globalization, and the world needs a brand new vision to go beyond various isms, where we should come out of those intricacies or those points where we are somehow sticking to a particular ism, be it capitalism, be it socialism, or sometimes we talk about having a mixed economy. So, we should come out of those visions, and we should think of a world which has something good for everyone. So, the new vision is captured by three fundamental colors of life, I told you in the previous lecture of mine. One is green, another is red, and third one is saffron. When we talk about green, red and saffron, as an acronym it is indicated by, denoted by GRS, taking the first alphabet of all three colors, wherein green denotes or indicates prosperity, because it is indicative of the prosperity which a society is having, or the earnings or the accumulations of wealth which we are doing, that is indicated by green. Red denotes equity or equality, because whatever wealth we are generating or creating, whether it is equitably and equally distributed among all or not. Are we going to create a society which is full of haves and have nots, or there is a society which is having an equal distribution of wealth, where there is something for everyone. So, red indicates about the distribution of that prosperity, that wealth which we have accumulated in an equitable manner, and saffron indicates or denotes about spirituality. So, we start our journey from prosperity, because unless we earn, unless we accumulate the wealth, what are we going to distribute? Are we going to distribute poverty? So, we are not at all against capitalism, or we are not at all against what capitalism has to do, because we should come out of that ism. We should try to take the best out of whatever is available, and we all know that at the very root of Indian ethos in management is Anu Bhadra Krito Yanto Vishwata. Let the noble thought come to us from each and every dimension. So, we are taking best out of everything. So, whatever or whichever ism is, we are taking best out of it. So, we are taking prosperity, we are taking equity and equality, and then we are talking about spirituality. So, GRS vision is actually talking about a balancing between prosperity, equity and spirituality. Because if you go to one extreme, that no, will only be spiritual, we won't believe into the accumulation of wealth, that too is not going to work, or vice versa is also not workable. Because if you say that no, we will only go for accumulating wealth, we will not talk about spirituality, that too is not going to serve our purpose. So, GRS vision is actually trying to maintain a balance. It is an attempt to maintain a balance among prosperity, equity and spirituality. So, my dear learners, in this way we could understand that now the time has come that we should come out of those isms, or we should come out of those inhibitions which we have been having in our mind since very long. We should try to imagine a world which has something good for everyone. So, why don't we balance among prosperity, equity and spirituality? That is what the world needs actually. and when we talk about GRS, it actually corresponds to three fundamental or basic ideas. If I say market, society and spirituality, that would not be wrong here, because we are not only looking at the market but also society and spirituality. So in the language of ism, we have to understand that GRS is basically an indicative of blending of capitalism, socialism and spiritualism. So here I would like to reiterate, my dear learners, that we have to take best out of all three isms, be it capitalism, be it socialism or be it spiritualism. So out of all three, the best is supposed to be blended together to find the best results. This is what actually the world needs when we talk about the holistic development. And when we talk about towards a new vision, a very pertinent question comes to us: how and why? Why do we need this kind of vision? I told you at the very outset, why do we need this new vision, and how we are going to do that is something which is going to be our point of discussion today. So we should head towards this taking us beyond the existing isms, and we have to get a direction for a new integration of various ideas about not only human life but also society. And when we take care of society and human life, then of course the nation is already taken care of, because a nation is basically the sum total of all the societies or the society in which we are living. So we are getting a direction for a new integration of diversified ideas, and this GRS vision is actually linked with certain models to organize human life and activities. This I told you in the previous lecture of mine. I told you about the 3T model, which I am not going to repeat because we have discussed 3T model. We have also discussed about the transcendental approach, which is spiritualistic and cosmos focused, that also we discussed. We also had a brief discussion about the CCS model, where we talked about competition, cooperation and symbiosis, where the nature displays three levels of behavior. If we have to name it, we would call it competition, cooperation and symbiosis. So this CCS model is also a model which is very much in when we talk about the 21st century challenges and how to take care of them. So the three aspects which correspond to green, red and saffron approaches to life is very much represented by the CCS model also. We also talked about MMC, that is matter, mind and consciousness. This I would going to explain to you in detail. So matter, mind and consciousness, they are indicative of gross, subtle and very subtle dimensions of life and our existence. So when I say matter, it is basically a gross kind of thing. It is a reflection of gross, that this is something which is with us. Mind is going to make it subtle and consciousness is going to make it very subtle, and these three dimensions are very much significant and important for our life and existence. They also can be referred as physical, mental and spiritual aspect of life, because when I say matter or material, it belongs to the physical aspect. When I say mind, it is indicative of mental aspect of life, and consciousness is actually the spiritual aspect of life. So when we have to relate it to the color, when we have to relate it to the GRS model, and matter, mind and consciousness is going to be integrated, green color is actually indicative of gross, because it is indicating the prosperity, or what you call as your capital which or wealth which you have created. So it is indicative of gross, physical and matter dimensions. So green is indicative of the materialistic or material dimension of our success. Red is basically indicative of subtle aspect, and saffron is indicative of very subtle or the spiritual dimension. So red is indicative of whatever we have earned, whether it is distributed among all in an equitable manner or not, and saffron is indicative of very subtle, or what you call as spiritual dimension of our discussion, and that is basically called as the ultimate truth. So when we integrate matter, mind and consciousness with that of GRS, we find that MMC integration, we get the holistic view of life, that this is the way we have to lead our life, not only at the level of individual but also at the level of organization. And it would not be wrong to say that even at the national level, as a citizen of a country, we should lead our life in the same manner, because the entire world is our family. Our country should be treated like our home, and then only we can take care of all the activities or whatever is expected from us. Then comes 3E model, and it is indicative of efficiency, equity and ethics, and the interrelationship between them. So here I would like to take a pause, and I would like to explain to you that gone are the days when the customers used to buy the products merely on the basis of price, that it is costing me less, so I would buy, or some people used to say that they go for making use of price quality matrix only, that price quality combination is okay, so I am buying this product. Now the customers go beyond that. They look at the ethical aspect of company's behavior as well, how ethical this company is, whether this company's activities are sustainable or not, whether they are doing good for the society or not, whatever they are doing, whether it is causing, whether it is not it is causing any harm to the environment or not. So the customers are now more and more aware, and these 3 E's, they are metaphorically represented by the 3 wise men. People say that Adam Smith, Marx and Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, their name comes here, and in GRS vision also we can integrate them. So here what we are trying to do, my dear learners, is that we are integrating the existing popular models with that of GRS vision, that if you take GRS as a comprehensive idea, it comprises of everything. Whichever or whatever model you discuss, these 3 colors are indicative of all those points which we have already discussed, and they can very well be integrated with this GRS vision. And nowadays when we talk about corporate social responsibility, going a step ahead, when we talk about public social responsibility, that is PSR, and now some people, some propagators, they also talk about ISR, individual social responsibility. But at the end of the day, what matters here is the triple bottom line. So GRS vision also reflects the concept of triple bottom line, where in triple bottom line we'll talk about people, profit and planet. And here this is captured through the concept of GRS also. So GRS can also be integrated with the very popular concept of triple bottom line, what you call as profit, people and planet. We all understand that when we say green, green is indicative of profit, because profit is leading to prosperity or wealth accumulation. Red is indicative of CSR, and saffron is indicative of good governance. So your company is making profit, it is spending amount on CSR, but whether it has good governance or not, because good governance is very much required for your sustained future. The sustained future of your company is completely and purely dependent upon your good governance. So governance is need to be good and transparent, and this goodness is defined by various frameworks, various authors and various literatures available on the subject, that I am not discussing here, because we have to be focused to this very topic, that we are moving towards a new social vision. So this new social vision can very well be represented by GRS, and here these 3 colors, green, red and saffron, they are indicative of again I am repeating, prosperity, equity and equality, and the last one is talking about spirituality. So all 3 are important. Even triple bottom line can very well be integrated with this GRS vision, and it refers to 3 types of values. When we say market value, when we say spiritual value or social value, they are actually represented by the GRS values also. So it is such a comprehensive idea that you can very well integrate them with the existing models, and you can make good use of them. So my dear learners, what I wanted to explain to you here is the way GRS is increasingly being used. The theories I discussed in the previous lecture in detail, so I am not repeating them. I am simply telling you the way this GRS can be implemented. If we talk about the implication of GRS, it is not only applicable to individuals but also organizations and society. For individuals, I have already discussed, so I am not going to repeat it. But when we talk about organizations, for organizations or for companies, green represents profit, red represents social responsibility, and saffron represents good governance. Green is representative of profit, and red is representing social responsibility, and eventually saffron represents good governance. And corporate entities or business organizations, they can also make good use of this GRS vision, which suggests that profit should be used for social benefit. So green and red is connected like this, that whatever profit we are making, it should be used for social benefit and should be earned through good business practices. That is called ethical practices, which is represented by the saffron. So if you are spending huge amount of your profit on CSR, you take a significant proportion of your profit on CSR, that is fine. But you should not do it like this, that you are making money out of unethical ways and means, and then trying to use CSR as a place where you can wipe out all your sins. No, you cannot. So GRS vision talks about the sustainability aspect also. It says that your profit should be there, profit should be used for social benefit, and it should be earned through ethical ways and means, what you call as good business practices. So here comes the saffron. Saffron doesn't mean that we are relating it to religious fanaticism. No, not at all. We are relating it to the spiritual aspect, that yes, whatever profit I am making, that should be made, that should be earned through ethical ways and means. So in nutshell, I can say that GRS should find its manifestations in a company's vision and mission. If companies increasingly try to integrate these three aspects, starting from their prosperity, then to equity, and eventually their spirituality, if all three find a place in the vision and mission document of a company, then there is nothing which can stop your company from prospering and leading your business in a sustainable manner. Now coming to society, this was a story of organization, that at the level of an organization, the way you can apply GRS. Now moving ahead to society. Society is what? Society is basically group of individuals, because we all individuals form our society. Now GRS vision suggests a harmonic society, which is just, humanistic, and sacro-civic in nature. We are going to dream of a society which is having which is harmonic in nature, and it is just, humanistic, and sacro-civic in its nature for all aspects. Now if we follow this vision, what it does, it offers foundational philosophy for future evolution of societies in terms of sacro-civic society. We are dreaming here, we have started dreaming about a society which is sacro-civic society in terms of its behavior and in terms of its nature. So that is not too far from us. We can now convert or transform this dream into a reality if we follow this GRS as a vision for our society in which we are living. Now if we have to operationalize this GRS vision, how to actually implement it? In order to operationalize this entire GRS vision and various other models of transcendental management, we can find some ideas from researchers. The author of this very topic have contributed three fundamental principles and corresponding equations about a holistic view of life and expressions of self, how to go for using that, where it says that you have three important principles, and T principle refers to total view of life in terms of transactional, transformational, and transcendental. I've been repeating it time and again when we have been discussing about Indian ethos in management, that there are three important levels in management. Transactional is the beginning point, then transformational, and now the future belongs to transcendental approach. And these three approaches are used for relationships of human beings with other, including nature. So this view of life is represented by certain equations. When I say T is to be represented by T1, T2 and T3, so it is sum total of all three. So transactional is equally important along with transformational and transcendental. So whatever you are finding in terms of the total view of life, that is coming from all three approaches, be it transactional, transformational or transcendental. There is another principle which is called as C principle. Alphabet C is being used to refer to complete view of nature in terms of competition, cooperation and symbiosis. So it says that you should try to compete, you should try to cooperate, and then of course symbiosis is there, connectivity is there. So again it is represented by C1, C2 and C3, which is being represented by competition, cooperation and connectivity respectively. And if I have to say that what is there into C3, C3 represents the interconnectivity of human beings with everything, and it is often captured through concept of consciousness. Particularly when we talk about consciousness, we are indicating towards spiritual consciousness. And if we look at the C equation, we find again it is additive in nature. We are adding all three components C1, C2 and C3, competition, cooperation, and the third one is basically the consciousness or connectivity, what you call C1, C2 and C3. So it is a combination of all three components of the C principle, and there is another principle called which starts from the P principle. P principle refers to human personality, which displays three components. If I have to explain it in terms of its order, I would say lower self, middle self and higher self, represented by P1, P2 and P3. Having said lower self, middle self and higher self, it is basically a journey of a human life. It is displayed through three different gunas, that is tamas, rajas and sattva. We start with the tamasic, then rajasic and eventually the sattvic. So when we are at the tamasic stage, it means we are at lower self. When we are at rajasic, it means we have now escalated ourselves to the level of middle self. And when we start being sattvic and in terms of our behavior, in terms of our thinking, in terms of our thought, then of course we are into the higher self. So these P1, P2, P3, they are representative of tamas, rajas and sattva. And I have to, if I have to put them into an equation, again it is having the same nature of additive, it is being added P1, P2 and P3. So all three, tamas, rajas and sattvic, all three are supposed to be added. So my dear learners, the Indian scripture is so rich in terms of offering us this idea of how to reach to the ultimate level of our self development, because unless we develop ourselves, we cannot develop organization, we cannot develop our nation or society at large. So we have to understand that society is basically the combination of different individuals. So it is a combination of all. So if I develop myself in such a way that I am at the sattva level of my merit or quality, in guna theory, if I am at sattva level, it means I am at my higher self. And when I am at my higher self, then of course whatever I do, whatever business I am into, whatever venture I am into, I am going to give the best out of my efficiency and efforts. So the efforts are going to bear the best of fruits there. That is something which we have to understand, that when these three TCP principle, if we combine all three T, C and P, and we combine all the equations, we can arrive at a comprehensive view of human beings, life and society. You can find a comprehensive view, and the world view is in consonance with GRS vision. Again, now we have to integrate this TCP with the GRS vision, and I told you that we have already integrated, and it provides an operational framework for translating the transcendental management into action. So if we combine them together, if we club them together, we can find a very efficient and effective operational framework for translating our thoughts into action. So when we talk about human development management, when we talk about transcendental management, how to transform that theory into action, how to transform that vision into action, for that we need an operational framework, and here this TCP principle is coming as a remedy to us in order to solve our problem. If you look at the literature available on this topic, because whatever I am saying, whether it is validated and supported by the existing researchers and thinkers or not. So during a recent past, many management thinkers, they have started stressing the on the need for an integrative view of society. For instance, if I take a research by Gupta, who did it in 1994, it suggests the concept of management by consciousness. So you can do the management by the way of consciousness. Chakrabarti talks about the need for sacro-secular symbiosis. There is a researcher called Atreya highlights the need for incorporating the Indian dimension, and that is self-development dimension in management thought. So my dear learners, we have to understand that these ideas are taking us in the direction of sacro-civic vision of the society, facilitated through the TCP matrix. It can also be put in the form of a matrix. I duly acknowledge this entire discussion on GRS to the author who has given this idea towards a new social vision of sacro-civic society, and the calling of holistic globalization by Subhash Sharma. It was published in Vilakshan, that is XIMB Journal of Management, in the year 2007, and there are other research papers also by the same author. Dr. Subhash Sharma has contributed significantly to the Indian ethos of management, and this talks about towards a new vision of the world, how to transform the thought into action. So with this, I am concluding this very part of my lecture. I hope you must have enjoyed this segment of my lectures on the topic. Thank you so much.